A millionaire CEO witnesses twins selling their toy car to save their mother, unaware that this moment will alter their lives forever. Before we plunge into the tale, share your location in the comments below. Immerse yourself in the tale. The autumn wind howled through Central Park, sending dried leaves swirling past the worn bench where twin boys sat in silence. Zach and Lucas Wilson, mirror images with freckles dotting their noses, pressed close against the biting morning cold. A shiny red toy car lay between them, edges worn but still catching the sun's light, a glimmer of nostalgia and longing. "Someone's gotta want it," Zach whispered, his small hands trembling as they twisted the toy. "This car is pure magic." Lucas nodded, throat tight, eyes darting through the throng. His stomach growled, but he pushed the hunger aside. Starving since yesterday's meager breakfast, they pushed aside hunger. Their mother lay pale and weak in the tiny apartment, demanding all their focus. "Let's go that way," Lucas urged, gesturing to the bustling path where hurried business people rushed by. The twins took their stand, drawing on a bravery that belied their tender age. Identical blue eyes, serious and fierce, tracked each passerby with a burning hope. "Excuse me, sir," Zach called to the man in the expensive suit. "Are you ready to own this car? It's truly extraordinary." The man brushed by, eyes averted, leaving silence in his wake. The morning unfolded in a blur, with hurried footsteps echoing around, some casting fleeting looks of sympathy, while others chose to remain blind to the scene. "Mom must have the medicine today." A tall figure stepped out of a sleek black car, cutting through the stillness of the park. Blake Harrison straightened his tailored suit jacket, a brief nod acknowledging his driver's confirmation of the afternoon's agenda. At 42, Blake transformed Harrison Industries into a global tech titan, his name a beacon of innovation and fierce ambition. He instructed his driver, "I'll walk through the park. I'll be waiting for you on the east side in 15 minutes. Blake strode forward, his face a mask of calm, yet his mind raced through the weight of quarterly projections. A small voice sliced through his thoughts, pulling him from the haze of indifference surrounding him. "Sir, will you buy our car?" Blake stumbled. That voice, filled with raw urgency, compelled him to halt. He glanced down at the twin boys, their identical faces twisted in worry. One clutched a toy car as if it were a priceless treasure. "We're letting it go," the boy pressed on. It zips by, and the doors swing wide open. Blake's gaze locked onto the twins, a sudden weight pressing down on his heart. Their earnest faces and the delicate way they cradled the toy, as if it were a precious treasure, struck a chord deep within him, leaving him breathless and bewildered. "What's the price?" Blake felt the words escape his lips. The twins locked eyes, a silent storm brewing between them. "Name your price," the one holding the car replied, eyes cold and calculating. "It's for our mom. That's all that matters. She's gravely ill." Blake's eyes fixed on the toy car, a world of memories swirling within. It was deeply treasured, pristine yet worn. The surface bore the marks of tiny fingers, a silent testament to countless touches. He reached for his wallet, heart racing, and pulled out several crisp bills, driven by an instinct he couldn't quite grasp. He reached out, money in hand. "Will this make a difference?" The boys gasped, their eyes wide with disbelief at the staggering amount, exceeding their wildest dreams. Zach gently set the toy car in Blake's palm, their fingers brushing briefly before parting with a hint of hesitation. "Thank you, sir," Lucas whispered, relief flooding his voice. "This will mean everything to our mom." Blake slipped the car key into his pocket, eyes fixed on the twins as they clutched the cash and dashed off, urgency in every step. He could have walked away, returned to his plans, and erased this fleeting moment from his mind. He stood there, eyes fixed on the boys, as they walked away, their identical heads huddled in a desperate whisper. Blake glanced at his driver, lingering just out of sight. "Follow them," he whispered, astonished by his own authority. "I need to know where they call home." Blake's car crept along, his gaze fixed on the toy car clenched tightly in his hand. The twins rushing ahead, oblivious. Years had passed since anything shattered his meticulously crafted world. It had been years since he felt this pull, this desperate need to grasp something beyond mere profit margins and strategic acquisitions. Blake Harrison dismissed fate and coincidence entirely. As he peered through the tinted window at the twin boys, an unsettling certainty gripped him. Something monumental had just unfolded, destined to alter everything. Blake's car trailed the twins to a crumbling apartment building in a forsaken part of the city. The sleek vehicle stood in sharp relief against the crumbling surroundings, a haunting juxtaposition. Blake sat frozen, clutching the toy car. As the boys vanished into the shadows, he stepped out, commanding his driver to wait, heart racing as doubt crept in. The stairwell reeked of mildew, echoing with despair. Blake ascended 4 flights, drawn by the joyful shouts of children, until he stood before a door, its paint flaking away. He paused, then struck the door with purpose. The door creaked ajar, exposing a twin's wary gaze. "It's him," the man from the park, calling back, confusion etched in his wide eyes. The door creaked open, revealing the unknown. Both boys stood frozen, doubt etched on their mirrored expressions. Blake caught a fleeting glimpse of a bare apartment. A woman's silhouette sprawled on a mattress. "May I enter?" The apartment, though poor, gleamed with an unexpected cleanliness. What haunted Blake the most was what lay absent. Only the essentials, stripped down to the core. "Lucas," Blake pondered, uncertainty gnawing at him. Catherine Wilson lay on a thin mattress, breath shallow, skin pale against the tattered sheets. In her illness, the likeness to her son was undeniable, delicate features shadowed, her once vibrant face now a canvas of pain. "Weeks," Zach replied, his frail shoulders drooping under the weight of unspoken burdens. Each day she slips further away. Blake knelt by the mattress, his fingers brushing against Catherine's arm. Her skin seethed with fever. "She needs a hospital," he declared, urgency lacing his voice. "We don't have money," Lucas replied, his voice barely a whisper. "We had to sell our car." Blake's gaze flickered from the toy nestled in his pocket to the pleading eyes of the twins. A buried part of him awakened, igniting a fierce intensity within. "I'll handle it," he declared, resolve burning in his eyes. The boys locked eyes, a silent storm brewing between them. "How can we ever repay you?" Zach's grip tightened around the money they had fought for. Blake's expression shifted, revealing a vulnerability that caught everyone off guard. "You sold me your car, don't you recall? It's my moment to step in and make a difference." Blake swept Catherine into his arms, urgency pulsing between them. Her voice faltered, a whisper lost in the shadows, too fragile to fight back. The twins trailed behind, hearts racing, as Blake cradled their mother down the stairs and into his car. "Where are we headed?" Lucas pleaded, gripping his mother's lifeless hand. Blake reached out, phone in hand, ready to connect with those who could save her. As the car vanished from view, Blake couldn't shake the haunting question of why he had ever stepped into this chaos. For years, he fortified his fortress, consumed by his empire, shunning anything that could stir the buried agony within. Something about these twins and their dire plight pierced through those walls. As Blake met the anxious gazes in the back seat, a jolt of realization struck him. His once solitary existence was now inextricably linked to theirs. The emergency room doors burst open as Blake rushed in, Catherine in his arms, the twins following, fear etched on their faces. His presence sliced through the chaos, and in moments, doctors surrounded Catherine while nurses ushered the anxious boys to nearby chairs. "Severe dehydration. Kidney failure looming," the doctor whispered, assessing the situation. Catherine's heartbeat quickens. "How long has she suffered like this?" "Weeks," Blake said, eyes fixed on the medical team, their movements sharp and urgent. "Can she heal?" The doctor's face betrayed nothing, a mask of calm in a storm of emotions. "She requires urgent care. Are you related?" Blake paused, heart racing. "Yes," he replied, his voice steady, a shock of certainty coursing through him. "Results are in, severe kidney disease diagnosed. Immediate dialysis needed." Blake signed the forms with unwavering resolve, his insurance details flowing from him as if he had always been Catherine's guardian. Hours later, Blake sat in a hushed hospital corridor, flanked by the weary twins. The boys clung to him, struggling to stay awake, but surrendering to the heaviness of their eyelids. They clung to their mother, refusing to leave, until the doctors forced them out for the procedure. "Will Mom leave us forever?" Lucas whispered, his voice trembling with emotion. Blake gazed down at the boy, his heart tightening at the sight of fear flickering in those blue eyes, so hauntingly wise for their age. "No," he declared, unwavering. "She's finally receiving the care she deserves. But what comes next? Zach asked, worry etched on his face. We can't linger in this place for eternity. The question lingered, heavy and charged. Blake's singular drive to secure Catherine's treatment blinded him to the uncertainty that lay ahead. Sending those children back to that desolate apartment while their mother healed felt impossible. You'll come stay with me, Blake heard himself say, the words spilling out before he could think. Only until your mother recovers. The twins shared a fleeting, uncertain look. Your house must be enormous, Lucas remarked, pausing to picture it in his mind. Blake confirmed it, a wave of self-consciousness about his wealth crashing over him for the first time in years. There's space for you both. As Catherine lay stabilized and asleep, a nurse stepped forward, clutching paperwork and probing about childcare plans. Blake seized control, declaring the boys would remain with him. His tone was unyielding, silencing doubt and dissent. As they readied to depart, Blake observed the twins bidding farewell to their unconscious mother, each pressing a soft kiss to her forehead, a tenderness that gripped his heart. These children, seemingly crushed by their fate, revealed a resilience and love that ignited a fire long extinguished within him. The journey to Blake's estate was filled with an unsettling quiet. The twins huddled in the back seat, their whispers barely audible as the bustling city faded into pristine suburbs, finally approaching the secluded path to Blake's mansion. As the car halted before the grand edifice, the boys' fatigue faded, overtaken by wonder at the house's vastness, softly aglow in the night. Are you really all by yourself here? Zach inquired as they exited the car. Blake nodded, a rush of realization flooding over him as he glimpsed his home anew through their eyes. Majestic. Striking, yet profoundly devoid of true significance. Not tonight, he whispered, guiding them to the imposing front doors. Tonight, you stand beside me. Morning light poured through the tall windows as Zach and Lucas ventured into their temporary home, hearts racing with uncertainty. The mansion loomed, its crystal chandeliers casting eerie shadows, priceless art whispering of untold stories, and corridors stretching into the unknown. Does he have a pool? Lucas breathed out, a thrill in his voice. Maybe 3, Zach said, his fingers gliding over the cool marble banister. The boys drifted into slumber in a guest suite that dwarfed their apartment, cradled by beds so soft they felt weightless. Amidst their worry for their mother, a spark of childlike wonder ignited as they uncovered the secrets of Blake's estate. Blake stood at the study doorway, coffee clutched tightly, eyes locked on them. He had already made calls, securing Catherine's treatment, delaying meetings, and directing his housekeeper to gather essentials for the twins. He was lost, unable to fathom his own choices. The hospital called. Blake declared as the boys turned the corner. Your mother is holding steady. Her treatment is showing promising results. Relief flooded their faces, mirroring each other in a moment of pure connection. Is it possible to see her today? Lucas inquired with a glimmer of hope. This afternoon Blake made a vow. Did you eat? The twins exchanged glances, their heads shaking in unison. Blake guided them to the kitchen, where Mrs. Winters had laid out a breakfast that beckoned with warmth. The woman arched an eyebrow at the unexpected guests, silence hanging heavy as she dished out heaping plates of food. Eat, Blake commanded, eyes glued to his phone as notifications piled up. The boys attacked the meal, hunger etched on their faces, urgency in every bite. Suddenly, as Blake typed away, a ruckus erupted outside his study. You can't go in there, Mrs. Winters said, her voice unyielding. Blake swung the door wide, catching Zach in the act, straining to see past the housekeeper into the forbidden room at the hall's end, a room Blake had sealed away forever. The door remained shut, Mrs. Winters said, her voice heavy with regret. I attempted to warn them. It's fine, Blake cut in, his voice strained. He turned to the twins. The room is off limits. The room is off limits. Every corner of the house beckons, yet that room stands defiantly shut. Got it? The boys nodded, stung by his abrupt chill. That afternoon, Blake's driver rushed them to the hospital. Catherine stirred, frail yet alive, her eyes igniting at the glimpse of her sons. My boys, she breathed, as they held her close. Anxiety consumed me. Mr. Harrison is letting us stay at his house. Mom, Lucas exclaimed, his voice brimming with excitement. It's colossal. Catherine's gaze locked onto Blake, who lingered awkwardly at the threshold. I can't find the words to express my gratitude, she whispered. No need, Blake said, his voice tight. The doctor came in, delivering news about Catherine's condition, breaking it down for the twins. Your mom's kidneys were failing. We're filtering her blood as they fight to heal. Will she heal? Zach gripped his mother's hand tightly, eyes wide with fear. The doctor confirmed it. With continued treatment, hope remains. Yet, time is all we have. As they drove home, silence enveloped the twins, each grappling with the weight of their mother's fate. What drives you to assist us? Lucas finally spoke, shattering the stillness. Blake gazed through the window, the city blurring by in a rush of fleeting moments. Sometimes help is all they need, he finally said, skirting the raw reality beneath. That night, with the twins dreaming, Blake faced the locked door, key trembling in his grip. Within lay all he desperately sought to escape. Snapshots, playthings, moments frozen in time like trapped souls in amber. His fingers gripped the key, then let go. Not tonight. Maybe never. The house loomed behind him, charged with an unsettling energy. Once a hollow symbol of triumph, now briefly vibrant with the laughter of children. A paradox of warmth and fear enveloped me. A week slipped by, weaving an unforeseen cadence. Every morning, Blake awoke before dawn, straining to hear the echoes of life in his once quiet home. The twins' footsteps echoed, their whispers danced through the air, and even their rare clashes added to the mansion's haunting melody. Blake's staff adjusted swiftly, their professionalism tinged with intrigue. Mrs. Winters filled the kitchen with treats for the kids, while the groundskeeper faced a barrage of questions from two identical shadows that trailed him relentlessly through the gardens. Mr. Harrison. Zach stepped into Blake's home office, tension crackling in the air. Can we see Mom today? Blake glanced at his watch, urgency tightening in his chest. We'll leave right after lunch. Is the room treating you well? It's awesome, Zach said, his eyes alight with excitement. Lucas stumbled upon a forgotten chess set in the depths of the closet. Do you dare to play? Blake's fingers froze above the keys. I once did. Will you teach us one day? Will you teach us one day? The boy's hopeful gaze rendered refusal unthinkable. Maybe, Blake replied, diving back into his task. Zach hesitated, then pulled away, leaving Blake engulfed in a whirlwind of unanticipated feelings. In the hospital, Catherine's progress shone through, a flicker of hope amidst the shadows. Life surged back into her, and she sat up, wrapping her arms around her sons as they burst into the room. The doctors say I'm responding well to treatment, she whispered to Blake, her eyes flickering with hope as the twins played in the cramped hospital room. I don't know how I'll ever repay. Don't, Blake interrupted. Embrace healing. As the twins laughed and talked, Nurse Catherine's gaze fixed intently on Blake. You don't have kids, do you? She whispered. Catherine's eyes flickered with surprise at the implication. But before she could react, Lucas's voice cut through, shattering the tension. That evening, dinner at the mansion shattered with a sudden crash from the living room. Blake and Mrs. Winters burst in, only to find Zach frozen in shock, staring at the wreckage of the antique vase. I'm sorry, the boy stammered, his eyes wide with terror. I was only glancing. I never intended to. Blake took in the destruction. The vase, a cherished find from years past, shattered beyond repair. Are you okay? He inquired with a steady voice. Zach's head dropped, dread etched on his face. Good, Blake whispered. Mrs. Winters, make this right. Blake's unexpected departure left Zach in stunned silence as he turned away, heading back to the dining room. Are you not furious? Zach inched forward, heart racing. Blake hesitated. It's just a thing, he whispered. Nothing lasts forever. Later that night, sleep eluded Blake as he roamed the shadowy halls of the house. As he walked by the twins' room, a quiet, heart-wrenching sob pierced the silence. He paused, then silently pushed the door ajar. Lucas lay in bed, tears cascading down his cheeks. Zach lay still in the bed next to me, lost in dreams. What's the matter? Blake whispered, his voice barely a breath. I miss Mom, Lucas breathed, his voice trembling. What if she never heals? Blake perched on the bed's edge, tension crackling in the air. The doctors are exceptional. Mom whispered that some people simply vanish, never to return. The stark words struck Blake like a thunderclap. In a fleeting moment, he reached out, his hand clumsily landing on the boy's shoulder. He vowed she would return. Close your eyes and drift away. With the door's final click, a tremor of change coursed through Blake, a fissure in the fortress he'd constructed around his heart, allowing pain to seep in alongside an unfamiliar warmth. Set to reveal. In just 2 weeks, the mansion had become something else entirely. Schoolbooks sprawled across the dining table, a chaotic testament to Blake's decision for temporary homeschooling. Children's jackets dangled next to lavish coats in the foyer. The once quiet air now buzzed with vibrant voices and bursts of laughter. Today, the long-awaited news finally arrived. Catherine was finally stepping into the world again, ready for a new chapter. Blake's driver rushed her straight from the hospital. The twins, restless by the front door, froze as the car drew near. "Mom!" they cried together, racing down the steps as Catherine appeared, slender yet resolute. Life surged back into her cheeks. Blake stood in the doorway, an outsider to a moment that felt sacred, as the family embraced tightly. Catherine glanced up, locking eyes with him, her smile radiating pure warmth. A sudden tightness gripped his chest. "Welcome," he said, his voice barely above a whisper as they drew near. "This is too much," Catherine confessed, eyes wide at the mansion's splendor. "Imposing is out of the question. You're not a burden," Blake cut in. "The doctor insists you must rest and keep up with your treatment. This arrangement is undeniably the best choice." Mrs. Winters emerged, ready to guide Catherine to her room. The twins jumped at the chance to be tour guides, their excitement bubbling as they rushed to share every discovery with their mother. That evening, they gathered for dinner, a moment that felt both new and charged. The twins took over the conversation, sharing snippets of their fleeting life. Gardens discovered, reluctant chess lessons from Blake, and the distant planets visible through his telescope. "You've been showing them the game of kings?" Catherine's voice cut through the silence, her question hanging heavy in the air. Blake nodded, tension coiling within him under her piercing gaze. "They?" inquired. "He's amazing, Mom," Lucas insisted. "He claims we're picking things up quickly due to our strong spatial awareness." Desperation flickered in his eyes as he turned to Blake. Blake provided the answer. "Spatial reasoning." Catherine's smile flickered like a spark in the dark. "They grasp everything in an instant." Her face hardened. "We must confront what lies ahead. The doctor warns of months of treatment ahead, and I must seek a job that can bend to my needs." Blake cut in, "One step at a time. Your treatment schedule is set. Nothing matters more right now." Later, when the twins slept, Blake discovered Catherine in the library, lost in family photos on a shelf. Intensely selected snapshots of Blake's parents and their enterprise. Victories marked by haunting voids. "Thank you," she whispered, her back still turned. "It's about more than just medical care. It's about giving my boys a sense of safety. Stability has been a rare gift for them." Blake lingered in the doorway, heart racing. "These children are extraordinary. A locked room," Catherine whispered, her voice trembling. "They believe it holds untold riches." Blake tensed up. Only storage, he deceived. Catherine turned, her gaze piercing through him with a tender intensity. "I grasp the weight of privacy, Mr. Harrison. We all hide pieces of ourselves, buried deep within." The Ike, her voice so simple yet profound, nearly shattered him. For years, they had walked on eggshells around his past, as if he were a ticking bomb ready to explode. Catherine's simple admission cut through the tension, leaving a raw vulnerability in its wake. "Blake," he breathed, a spark igniting in the silence. "Call me Blake," her head dipped in silent agreement. "Blake, then." A heavy silence enveloped them, brimming with unspoken questions. "I need to rest," Catherine finally whispered. "Sleep well, Blake." After she left, Blake poured a drink, grappling with how swiftly these strangers had shattered his carefully built solitude. The most unsettling truth was not his discomfort with their presence. but the growing fear of their inevitable goodbye. His hand instinctively dove into his pocket, fingers brushing against the twins' toy car, a bittersweet reminder of what once was. He studied it in the lamp's light, his thumb tracing its frayed edges, questioning how this tiny object could unleash such chaos in his life. Blake sat in his office, the quarterly reports abandoned, lost in a storm of thoughts. Outside, the twins' laughter rang out, their soccer ball soaring across the lawn. The sound broke through the thick windows, shattering the sanctuary he'd guarded for years. 3 weeks had slipped by since Catherine emerged from the hospital. Her strength slowly surged back, yet her medical team urged her to rest between treatments. The temporary arrangement lingered, leaving Blake in a storm of conflict. His phone vibrated, a message from his executive assistant, lighting up the screen. "Board meeting at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Will you be there?" Blake's gaze locked onto the screen. He worked from home, surfacing at the office only when absolutely needed. His absence ignited whispers, deftly contained by his team. Yet the reality, that Blake Harrison, a merciless business mogul, was harboring a struggling single mother and her twins, would be unfathomable to his peers. Confirmed. Then, the phone was cast aside. The office door creaked open, and Lucas's gaze pierced the darkness within. "Mr. Blake, Mom wants you to know dinner's ready." Catherine cooked fiercely, each meal a testament to her strength, however fleeting. She had to earn her keep, she insisted, ignoring Blake's protests. Her home-cooked meals transformed into a profound ritual, drawing them together at the dining table each evening. Lucas paused, heart racing. "May I ask you something?" Blake nodded, beckoning the boy inside. "What makes you hold onto that toy car so tightly? The one we let go?" Blake's fingers brushed the pocket of his jacket, where the small car lay hidden, a weight of memories pressing against him. He was unaware the boy had seen it all, uncertainty lingering in the air. He spoke the truth. Lucas drew near, pausing with reverence at the desk. "It belonged to our dad. He entrusted it to us in his final moments." Blake's guilt pierced through him. "I had no idea. It should be returned to you." Lucas's head trembled in denial. "We let go. It's just, Mom insists a promise must be kept." He gazed at Blake, intrigue sparking within him. "Did you have children? Is that the reason for the locked room?" The bluntness of the question stole Blake's breath away. In the corporate realm, his past remained a forbidden whisper. So harshly, "I truly did," he confessed, the words heavy and strange as they slipped from his lips. A child born from love. What became of him? Blake should have ended it right there, shifted the focus. He held fast to the walls he'd constructed. Yet his voice emerged, answering without his consent. An accident happened. A collision. Lives shattered in an instant. They are gone, taken from us forever. Lucas took this in, a weight of understanding heavy on his young shoulders. "So you did it for us, didn't you? We brought him back to you." Blake averted his gaze, unsettled by the boy's insight. "Maybe. Mom says people enter our lives for a purpose." Lucas pressed on. "Perhaps we entered your life to offer you support as well." Just as Blake opened his mouth, Zach burst through the door. "Join me." Engaged. Mom crafted a feast of spaghetti. Lucas grinned, trailing his brother closely. He paused at the threshold, glancing over his shoulder. "Join us, Mr. Blake. Being together makes everything brighter." The dinner that night crackled with energy. The twins relived their soccer game, their excitement palpable, while Catherine beams at their joy. Blake watched in silence, captivated by the transformation of the formal dining room, once reserved for rare business dinners, now radiating true warmth. "The boys say you have a board meeting tomorrow," Catherine remarked, as the twins hurried to clear the dishes, eager to assist despite Mrs. Winter's watchful eye. Blake nodded in affirmation. "I'll return by evening." Catherine's head dipped in silent agreement. "We'll be okay. Returning to normal life is essential for you." As Blake scanned the table, a jolt of realization struck him. This makeshift family dinner, filled with faces that were once strangers, pulsed with a sense of normalcy he hadn't felt in years. Fear gripped him as the truth sank in. The board meeting felt endless, suffocating time with its weight. Blake's gaze flicked to his watch, thoughts racing to the mansion and its fleeting occupant. When his CFO inquired about quarterly projections, Blake found himself asking for a repeat, a shocking crack in his famed concentration. Is everything okay, Blake? His crew inquired during a pause. Worry etched in his voice. Fine, Blake shot back, his voice sharp. It's time to end this. He arrived home as darkness enveloped the world. Silence enveloped the mansion as he stepped inside. He followed the whispers, discovering Catherine by Zach's bed in the twins' room. What transpired? Blake inquired, noticing the boy's crimson cheeks. Fever, Catherine said, her face a mask of concern. It struck without warning this afternoon. Zach forced a fragile smile. Hello, Mr. Blake. Lucas perched on his bed, eyes locked on his brother, heart racing with unease. He vomited twice, he said with a heavy heart. Blake moved closer, seeing the vacant stare in Zach's eyes and the struggle in his breath. In a heartbeat, he grabbed his phone and called his doctor. He'll be here in 20 minutes, Blake declared, a weight hanging in the air. A fleeting exchange. Catherine's gaze shot up. Heart racing? A visit to your doorstep? It's not needed? It is, Blake cut in sharply. We can't tell if this ties to your condition or if it's something infectious. It's wiser to tread carefully. The doctor confirmed it. Just a common virus. Rest and fluids were all that remained. Even with the reassurance, Blake couldn't shake the anxiety that pulled him back to Zach again and again throughout the night. On one visit to Selma, he discovered Catherine dozing in the chair next to Zach's bed, her hand gently placed on her son's forehead. In slumber, the weight of recent months etched deeply on her features. Blake gently wrapped a blanket around her shoulders, his gaze fixed on mother and child, an unfamiliar ache tightening in his chest. The next morning, Zach awoke, the fever finally gone. Blake canceled his meetings once more, tethered to home, anxiously monitoring the boy's fragile recovery. By afternoon, Zach sat up, sipping ginger ale, as Lucas spun wild tales, laughter mingling with the air. You didn't have to stay home, Catherine said, discovering Blake in his study later. We could have survived. Blake's gaze lifted from the screen. I needed to know he was healing. Catherine's gaze pierced through him, leaving him feeling utterly exposed. Your heart is in their hands. It was a statement, unyielding and final. Blake shut his laptop, torn inside, words escaping. The boys now call you Mr. Blake, not Mr. Harrison, she pressed on. They can't let you go, and that worries you, Blake realized. Catherine exhaled, perched in the chair across from his desk. We can't linger here, Blake. One day, I will be strong enough to support my sons the way they deserve. And then, my treatments are exceeding all expectations, Catherine whispered, her voice trembling with hope. The doctor believes I could be ready for fewer sessions in just a month. I've begun the search for apartments within our budget. Blake's stomach twisted with a chilling dread. There's no rush, he said, his voice trembling with doubt. There is, Catherine replied softly. The more time we spend here, the more painful our departure will be for everyone. Blake stood silent, words lost in the weight of the moment. In business, he was unwavering, exuding confidence at every turn. This was personal. He had steered clear of this for years. Hearts intertwined, feelings collide, the peril of feeling too much. You've given us so much, Catherine said, standing to go. Your kindness has limits we can't ignore. Just as she touched the door, Blake's voice broke the silence. What if I begged you to remain? They were both taken aback by the question. Catherine turned, her face a storm of conflicting feelings. What drives you to do that? She whispered gently. Blake stood silent, the weight of uncertainty crushing him. At least, none he dared to speak. That night, Blake faced the locked door, the key quivering in his grasp. For 5 years he kept this room frozen in time, just as it was on that fateful day. Thomas's room. A haunting stillness. Echoes with memories. Her words haunted him, a relentless echo in his thoughts. What if I begged you to remain? He couldn't catch the words in time, and they spilled out, exposing deeper truths than he meant to share. Blake took a deep breath and turned the key. The lock clicked softly, echoing in the stillness of the hallway. He opened the door, dust swirling in the light from the corridor. Everything was just as he had abandoned it. The blue walls, adorned with solar system decals, the bookshelf brimming with adventure tales, the bed draped in a rumpled spaceship comforter, untouched by Mrs. Winter's hands. A framed photo on the bedside table captures Thomas, Blake, and Sarah, All smiles on a beach vacation, their final moments together. Blake entered, drowning in a flood of memories. He grasped a toy car from the shelf, a mirror of the one the twins had once sold him. Thomas had a passion for cars as well. Mr. Blake, he spun around, heart racing. Lucas lingered in the doorway, eyes aflame with curiosity and doubt. "You shouldn't be here," Blake rasped. "I'm sorry," Lucas whispered, his voice barely a breath. The door creaked open. His eyes swept the room, realization igniting on his youthful face. Blake nodded, silence engulfing him as he faced his son's room. "What is happening? What was his name? Thomas. Was he like us? He is here now. At 5, he..." Blake faltered, unable to go on. "And through one word." Lucas stepped in, heart racing, eyes locked on the photo that beckoned from the nightstand. "Your smiles are contagious. We existed." Lucas gazed at the picture, then met Blake's eyes. "Mom believes Dad is our guardian from above. Perhaps Thomas keeps a watchful eye on you as well." The innocent words spoken with unwavering belief shattered something deep within Blake. He sank onto the bed's edge, years of buried emotions crashing to the surface. "I miss him," Blake whispered, the confession hanging heavy in the air. "Each day." "We miss Dad too," Lucas said, sitting beside him. "Mom says it's fine to feel sad, but we must remember to embrace happiness as well." A soft gasp escaped from the doorway. Zach. He stood there, ghostly pale from his illness, eyes wide with a mix of fear and longing at the forbidden room. Catherine emerged, her gaze tender as she absorbed the moment. "Boys, come away," she whispered, her voice laced with urgency. "This is confidential." "It's okay," Blake whispered to himself. "Let them in." Zach stepped forward, heart racing, eyes scanning the room with a heavy sense of awe. He pointed to the rocket-shaped nightlight, captivated by its cool design. Thomas feared the dark, Blake revealed, astonished by how effortlessly the truth spilled out. "We got this on his 5th birthday." Catherine lingered in the doorway, her heart racing as Blake introduced the twins to Thomas's cherished books and toys. Every object whispered tales, unleashing memories Blake had buried deep within. The pain lingered, yet in sharing it, a flicker of relief emerged. Later, after the twins were asleep, Catherine discovered Blake alone in Thomas's room, lost in thought. "I'm sorry they intruded," she whispered, her voice trembling. "They possess an insatiable curiosity." "Don't be," Blake said, his voice heavy with unspoken weight. The moment had come to unlock this door. Catherine pressed her back to the doorframe, tension crackling in the air. "The room captivates with its beauty. He was surely a remarkable little boy. He existed." Blake's gaze met hers, a storm of unspoken words swirling between them. "I can't escape the weight of my mistake. I was behind the wheel, heart racing. A truck barreled through a red light. I made it through. They never did." Catherine approached and settled next to him, the air thick with unspoken tension. "You chose solitude. All these years, you've been your own tormentor." Her words struck him silent, a raw truth that pierced through him. "Survivor's guilt weighs heavily," she whispered. "Living only half a life betrays their memory." Blake gazed into her compassionate eyes, and for the first time in years, he felt truly seen. Not the triumphant leader, but the shattered soul hidden behind the flawless mask. "I can't find a way to end this," he admitted, his voice trembling. Catherine's hand found his, a silent promise exchanged in the stillness. "Perhaps you've begun." Spring burst forth, igniting change in the estate and its people. The gardens Blake tended, seldom relished, transformed into a refuge where the twins ventured each day. Catherine's health blossomed, her face lighting up with life once more. With every week, her strength surged back, fierce and undeniable. Yet, it was Blake who changed the most profoundly. The transformation unfolded slowly, almost imperceptibly, leaving outsiders unaware. Catherine noticed his tense stance ease as the boys walked in, genuine smiles breaking through his usual stern facade. On a bright Saturday, Blake shocked everyone by ditching his usual work and proposing a trip to the Natural History Museum. "Seriously?" Zach gasped, almost losing his grip on the spoon. "The dinosaur exhibit just opened," Blake remarked, his voice steady, masking the thrill of a rare family outing. "Unless you want something different." "Dinosaurs are flawless," Lucas declared with fervor. Catherine observed the exchange, her breath caught in her throat. "Blake, are you really certain? Saturdays are your work days." "Work can wait," he said, their eyes locking for a fleeting moment, both aware of the weight behind his words. A man who had sacrificed everything for his company. The museum trip changed everything. For the first time, they stepped out together, a striking sight that caught the attention of museum staff who recognized the renowned CEO, flanked by a woman and identical boys. Blake, usually so attuned to how others saw him, appeared unfazed by the gaze of the crowd. "Mr. Blake, look," Zach exclaimed, eyes wide, pointing at the towering T-Rex skeleton. "This one towers over the one in your library." Blake was swept away, their excitement pulling him in as he fielded a barrage of questions about ancient beasts, recalling the stories he once shared with Thomas. As Lucas grasped his hand, pulling him toward the next exhibit, Blake stayed close, unyielding, a sudden embrace of touch, once unimaginable just months ago. Catherine sat on the bench, her heart a storm of conflicting emotions as she watched the three engrossed in the fossil display. Blake transformed from a menacing benefactor to a man who truly cared for her sons, revealing a vulnerability that stemmed from his own painful history. The deepest concern. It wasn't gratitude she felt. It was a deepening attachment that stirred something profound within her. "Ice cream?" Blake pointed out as they stepped out of the museum, eyes drawn to a vendor across the street. The twins sprang into action without hesitation. Catherine and Blake trailed behind, their hearts pounding as they watched the others surge forward. "Thank you for today," she whispered. Their excitement is electric, a rare spark igniting the air. Blake confessed, "I enjoyed it too, beyond my wildest dreams." Catherine noted your ease with them, waiting few would dare to be. Blake's gaze locked onto the twins, their laughter mingling with the sweet chaos of ice cream flavors at the counter. "It's effortless for them. These children are extraordinary. You've given them something priceless," Catherine whispered. "Unyielding strength, protection, a trustworthy male presence." Blake faced her, his gaze heavy with intensity. "Catherine, reflecting on your words from last week, searching for a home." "Blake," she cut in softly, "we cannot linger in your world for eternity. You've surpassed all expectations. What if everything changed in an instant? Please don't leave me." The words lingered, heavy with unspoken truths neither dared to confront. Before Catherine could say a word, the twins burst in, beaming with their extravagant ice cream creations. "Mr. Blake, can we visit the park next weekend?" Lucas inquired with fervor. "Maybe," Blake said, his eyes flickering to Catherine. "Time will tell." That evening, while the twins shared their museum tales with Mrs. Winters, Blake discovered Catherine in Thomas's room. She lingered by the bookshelf, eyes locked on the model airplane suspended above. "I thought leaving was the answer," she whispered, her gaze fixed elsewhere. "For you, for us, a swift separation before bonds deepen." At last, she confronted him, "But I fear that possibility is slipping away." Blake entered the room, where pain and memory had transformed into something unexpected. "Hope ignites." "Stay," he urged, his voice steady yet filled with unspoken weight. Morning broke, sunlight flooding the kitchen as Catherine hurried to make breakfast. She moved with newfound grace, the scent of coffee and pancakes enveloping the space, a stark contrast to the coldness that once defined Blake's home. Seeking assistance, Blake stepped into the kitchen, dressed down in weekend wear, a stark contrast to his usual sharp suit. Catherine's smile flickered, a spark of something deeper lurking beneath. "Set the table now. The boys will be here any second." In the quiet, they move as one, the rhythm of their shared life etched into their bones after 2 months together. As Blake's hand grazed hers while reaching for plates, they lingered, a silent recognition of the spark igniting between them. "Dr. Levine says I can cut my treatments to once a week," Catherine said, her hands steady as she flipped the pancake. "My kidney function has found a new balance." Blake hesitated, the weight of expectations heavy in the air. "That's incredible news." "It is," she conceded, but doubt lingered in her voice. "I must confront the reality of my work situation. Financial dependence can't last a lifetime." Before Blake could react, the ground shook with the twins' thunderous approach. They stormed into the kitchen, clad for Saturday baseball practice, a fresh twist in the household rhythm. "Mama, Mr. Blake," Zach shouted, urgency lacing his voice. "Coach hinted I could pitch today. I'm playing first base," Lucas declared, a spark of pride in his eyes. Breakfast buzzed with heated debates over baseball tactics and team rankings. The earlier tension briefly faded away. Blake, a stranger to true competition, felt an unexpected surge of passion for the twins' journey in sports. On the cold aluminum bleachers, Blake and Catherine sat side by side, eyes locked on the boys as they prepared for the game, tension crackling in the air. Parents acknowledged Blake with silent respect, yet none dared to step closer. He was known for his elusive nature. Catherine noted their growth. Their February clothes cling uncomfortably, a reminder of change. "Children have a way of doing that," Blake said, a faint smile flickering across his face. Blossom in the shadows of surprise. Catherine gazed intently at his profile. "They shine with happiness and confidence, radiating more than just physical change." "It's all your fault, Blake," he muttered, shaking his head. "They endure, and you are their anchor." "But now they have you as well," she whispered. "You're always on their minds." Mr. Blake unveiled the secrets of the telescope to us. Mr. Blake revealed the secrets of flight. Mr. Blake vowed to unveil the secrets of chess openings to us. Blake's heart raced as Zach stood on the pitcher's mound, his young face etched with fierce determination. "I never saw this coming," Blake confessed. "None of it," Catherine replied. "Neither did I. Your arrival at our door that day felt like a wealthy man seeking redemption through charity." "What now?" "I've learned my lesson." A silent storm brewed between them, a connection deeper than language. Cheers erupted as Zach struck out his first batter. Blake stood, clapping with a fervor that eclipsed any corporate triumph he'd ever celebrated. As night fell and the twins slept, Blake and Catherine lingered on the terrace. The spring air, sweet and alive, bursts with blooming flowers. Between them lay the real estate listings Catherine had quietly uncovered. Blake noted the distance from your treatments, his gaze fixed on the circle departments. "They're all I can manage," Catherine said, her voice steady yet heavy. "I've sought administrative roles that align with my medical commitments." Blake pushed the papers away, heart racing. "Another choice awaits." "Blake, listen to me," he cut in, softly. 7 bedrooms echo with laughter. The boys excel in school, and your medical team stands ready. He hesitated, summoning his strength. "Don't go, not just passing through, but here to stay." Catherine turned her gaze, her silhouette bathed in the haunting glow of the moon. Whispers would spread. "They'll claim I twisted your heart, that the boys and I are exploiting you." "Let them talk," Blake snapped, a fire igniting in his eyes. "For 5 years, I've been trapped in the web of others' opinions, clinging to an illusion of control. I'm done with it." "What are you really suggesting?" Catherine's voice trembled, a mere breath escaping her lip. Blake's fingers brushed against hers, a spark igniting in the silence. "Let's face it, this isn't just a phase. We must recognize that what we have is worth fighting for." He gripped her hand softly. "I'm not seeking quick responses. Only stay a little longer." Catherine's eyes sparkled in the shadows. Fear gripped her, she confessed. "Not for you, but for the chance to hope once more. Of allowing the boys to dream." Blake admitted, "I'm scared too. For the first time in years, fear grips me. Not of what I have, but of what I might lose." As darkness enveloped them, their hands remained locked. A wordless pact to confront their fears side by side. Summer burst forth, turning the estate's gardens into a vibrant playground. The twins lost themselves in endless adventures, crafting forts and occasionally lending a hand to the amused groundskeeper. The mansion had shifted, its essence altered in quiet yet profound ways. Children's artwork brightened the refrigerator, vibrant sneakers sprawled across the floor, and laughter shattered the silence of once empty halls. 3 months had slipped by since Blake's fateful proposal on the terrace. Catherine lingered in uncertainty, neither embracing nor dismissing his promise of forever. Yet they danced in a familiar cadence that pulsed with the warmth of family. "Mother! Mr. Blake, check this out!" Lucas burst into the breakfast room one Saturday morning, interrupting Blake and Catherine's quiet coffee moment. The boys, muddy and victorious, clutched a small turtle together. He stood by the pond. Zach breathed, eyes wide with fervor. "Can we please keep him?" Blake met Catherine's gaze, her raised eyebrows speaking volumes. Their silent communication, a profound shift in their deepening bond. "A turtle needs careful attention," Blake said, his voice heavy with meaning. "We should uncover his needs first," Blake confirmed, astonished at how effortlessly the boys had woven into his life and dreams. Catherine observed the moment, her smile soft yet profound. "Clean up first, then we'll dive into turtle care online." The boys sprinted away, leaving behind muddy footprints that once would have appalled Blake, but now barely registered in his mind. Catherine chuckled. "So, we're building a turtle paradise this afternoon." "I've sealed billion-dollar deals," Blake said flatly. "I believe I can master turtle architecture." Their laughter intertwined, a haunting echo that grew more familiar with each passing moment. The day blossomed in quiet unity, scouring the web for turtle habitats, collecting essentials, and collaborating in the garden to craft a perfect sanctuary for the unexpected guest. Blake, once a master of delegation, now knelt in the dirt, fervently guiding the twins in crafting the perfect drainage for their home. Mrs. Winters, lemonade in hand, stopped to watch her employer, the powerful CEO, now in dirt-streaked khakis, a rare smile breaking through as he toiled with the boys. The housekeeper locked eyes with Catherine, a silent pact of understanding passing between them, both aware of the change that had unfolded. That evening, after tucking the twins into bed, Blake found himself drawn into yet another ritual. In the dim light of the library, he and Catherine clinked their glasses of wine, the air thick with unspoken tension. Catherine curled into the corner of the sofa, her eyes wide with awe at the impressive turtle habitat. "Your talent for environmental engineering is undeniable," Blake smiled, a rare ease in his stance that she had never witnessed before. "The board would gasp at the sight of me, drenched in mud and pond water." Catherine noted the company's unwavering patience with your limited hours. Blake acknowledged the perks of being the founder, even as his executive team managed everything remarkably well in his partial absence. A heavy silence enveloped them, pierced only by the relentless ticking of the clock and the faint creaks of the old house. "I got a job offer today," Catherine finally revealed, director of operations at a non-profit organization. "Oh, the pay is humble, yet sufficient, and they're ready to adjust for my treatment needs." Blake placed his wine glass down, a tremor of tension in the air. "Congratulations," he said, his voice steady but charged. "When will you begin?" "I haven't accepted yet," Catherine said, her gaze fixed on his face. "It would mean choices of additional concerns." The silent question lingered in the air. Does taking the job mean abandoning the estate? Breaking free from this delicate waltz they'd been caught in? "Blake," Catherine whispered on, "this exquisite limbo has held us captive for months." To the boys, "This is home," Blake spoke, his voice trembling with a rare vulnerability. Catherine's head dipped in silent agreement. "They've come to cherish you deeply. And I," she faltered, "deeply. And I," she faltered, doubt creeping in. Blake leaned in on the sofa, grasping her hand tightly. "What about you?" Catherine locked eyes with him, unflinching. "I've come to cherish the soul within the stronghold. The man who creates turtle, nurtures habitats, and ignites cheers at Little League games. The keymaster of hidden realms." Blake's thumb danced in circles on her palm. He confessed, "I never thought I'd feel this way again. After losing Sarah and Thomas, I told myself it was better to feel nothing at all." "What now?" Catherine urged softly. "Fear grips me now." Blake revealed the depth of his loss. "You and the boys mean everything to me." Catherine leaned in, their foreheads brushing, a spark igniting between them. "Stay with us," she breathed, her voice trembling. "Not merely visitors or objects of pity. Make your request clear." Blake sat in his office the next morning, eyes locked on the small velvet box resting on his desk. His grandmother's antique ring lay hidden in a safe deposit box for years, a silent guardian of untold stories. After speaking with Catherine, he had retrieved it yesterday, his mind a whirlwind of possibilities. She had said, "Ask us properly." The words reverberated in his mind, electrifying yet haunting. Blake Harrison, a master of multi-million decisions, suddenly froze in the grip of doubt. A soft knock shattered his reverie. "Mr. Blake." Lucas glanced around the door, heart racing. "Mom wants you to know lunch is ready." "I'll be right there," Blake replied, heart racing as he hurriedly tucked the ring box away in his desk drawer. Lucas hesitated. "Are you all right? Your concern is palpable." Blake forced a smile, masking the turmoil within. "Contemplating life-altering choices. Are we staying?" Lucas inquired with piercing clarity. "Zach and I choose to remain. Always." Blake gasped. "Do you really?" Lucas nodded, a weight heavy in the air. "Mom shines here, and we see your joy with us." Blake noted the sharpness of perception. The boy shrugged, a flicker of defiance in his eyes. "Twins observe everything." He paused, then whispered, "Mom loves you, you know. Her smile transforms in your presence." Before Blake could react, Lucas vanished down the hallway, leaving him reeling from the profound insight of a child. During lunch, Blake's gaze locked onto Catherine, her laughter ringing out as she responded to Zach. Her eyes met his, and she smiled. A smile Lucas had described, igniting a warmth that surged through him. Blake's suggestion hung in the air, a spark of possibility after their meal. "A visit to the lake this afternoon. The weather is just right." The twins erupted in joy. Blake's estate held a small private lake, its boathouse and dock a cherished refuge from the summer's swelter. As the sun dipped low, Catherine and Blake lingered on the dock, eyes fixed on the twins, laughter mingling with splashes in the fading light. A tense silence hung between them, pierced by the boys' laughter and distant bird calls. "This morning, I spoke with the nonprofit director," Catherine finally revealed. "I requested a few extra days to weigh their offer." Blake nodded, his fingers brushing the ring box hidden in his pocket. "What's stopping you?" Catherine faced him, her gaze piercing and unwavering. "You understand precisely what's keeping me trapped, Blake. What has consumed your thoughts all day?" Her expression melted. "Whatever you're battling inside, let it out." Blake inhaled sharply. "That toy car I bought from the boys changed everything. I never saw it coming. I felt hollow, surviving yet devoid of life." His eyes locked onto the twins. "In an instant my home erupted with noise, chaos, and vibrant life once more." "It was more than charity, wasn't it?" Catherine whispered. From the very start, Blake's head dropped, a silent storm brewing within. From that first moment, the sight of those twin boys fighting fiercely to save their mother struck deep. Their gazes locked. They echoed Thomas. Yet they stirred a profound reminder of what it truly means to care for something greater than myself. Catherine's fingers brushed against his, a silent plea in the air. "What now?" "This house feels empty without you. Alone without the boys. Running through the halls, your laughter echoes in the kitchen. But now it's silent." He gripped her hand tightly, lost in the shadows of who we used to be. The twins' laughter faded as they darted along the shoreline, leaving the adults in a fleeting moment of solitude. "I once believed happiness was beyond my reach," Blake confessed. "Surviving while Sarah and Thomas perished felt like a cruel twist of fate." "What now?" Catherine urged once more. "Perhaps this is what they truly desire for me. Is this for us?" Blake's hand trembled as he pulled the ring box from his pocket. "All day I've held this close, searching for the right moment, the right words." "I can't give you security, stability, or financial support," Blake said, his voice unwavering, though his heart raced wildly. "I'm offering a bond, a shared journey that respects our histories, yet breaks free from their shadow." He grasped her hand tightly. "Catherine Wilson, will you and your extraordinary sons turn this house into a lasting home? Will you be mine forever?" Catherine's eyes brimmed with tears. In a fleeting instant that felt infinite, she gazed at him, her face a mask of mystery. She nodded, a slow, heavy acknowledgement. "Yes," she breathed. "Absolutely, we will remain. Absolutely, I will marry you." Blake's hands shook as he slid the ring onto her finger, drawing her in tightly. Their kiss began softly, then ignited with the weight of unspoken dreams and mending souls. They separated, hearts racing at the sound of footsteps drawing near. The twins dashed forward, soaked and wide-eyed with wonder. "What's going on?" Zach's gaze fell on his mother's tears and Blake's rare, raw emotion. Catherine reached out, revealing the ring with trembling fingers. "Mr. Blake wants us to remain forever, together as one." The boys gazed at the ring, then at the adults, their minds racing with the weight of the moment. "Are you really getting married?" Lucas inquired with trepidation. Blake nodded, a silent agreement echoing in the air. "Is that okay with you?" Both, a choice that weighs heavy, pulling at the heartstrings. The twins shared a fleeting glance, then erupted into matching smiles. "So, can we really call you Dad now?" Zach inquired with fierce determination. The question struck Blake like a thunderclap. He braced himself for doubt, for a slow shift. These extraordinary boys embraced him instantly, a precious gift he believed he'd lost forever. "I would be honored," Blake said, his voice thick with feeling. "Only when you're ready." The twins surged ahead, arms encircling the adults in a wild embrace that almost sent them all tumbling into the lake. Laughter and tears intertwined as the newly formed family embraced, the setting sun enveloping them in a warm, golden glow. Later that night, as the twins slept and Catherine admired her ring in the moonlight, Blake's thoughts turned to Thomas. For the first time, the memory sparked a bittersweet joy. A flicker of hope that his son would approve of the family his father had embraced. Blake clutched the twins' toy car in his pocket, a symbol of new beginnings, shedding the weight of past sorrows. Blake Harrison, a master of business and solitude, now faced a storm of whispers as he, Catherine, and the twins stepped into the charity gala. Half a year had slipped away since he knelt by the lake, heart racing with hope. Their engagement sent shockwaves through Boston's elite. Blake dialed Richard Thornton, the chairman of Blake's board. "We almost thought you were lost to the everyday." Blake urged Catherine onward, his hand a gentle weight at her back. "Richard, this is my fiancée, Catherine Wilson." Catherine, radiant in a midnight blue gown that echoed the emerald on her finger, extended her hand with a quiet, unwavering confidence. "Meeting you, Mr. Thornton, is a true pleasure." "Mr. Thornton is a true pleasure. Blake has shared nothing but praise for your partnership." Richard's face flickered with shock before his practiced charm took over. "The pleasure is mine. Blake has changed these past months. Happier, lighter. Now it all makes sense. Happier, lighter." In the bustling ballroom, Blake guided Catherine through a sea of faces, each introduction charged with unspoken tension. Some greeted her with heartfelt warmth, while others masked their intrigue about the woman who had ensnared the heart of Boston's most sought-after widower. "They're questioning my motives," Catherine whispered, stepping onto the dance floor. The single mother who captivated the billionaire. Blake pulled her in, gliding effortlessly to the orchestra's waltz. "Let them question. We understand." "The truth," Catherine smiled at him, her eyes shimmering with unspoken depth. "What is it?" "I'm the fortunate one," Blake said, his voice barely above a whisper, filled with raw sincerity. "Somehow, I've been granted a second chance at happiness I never believed I deserved." As night fell, Catherine leaned into Blake, her head finding solace on his shoulder. "The boys will demand every detail. Zach believed you'd feast on golden plates." Blake laughed softly. "They won't believe the chocolate fountain." Mrs. Winters sat in the living room, her voice weaving stories for the twins, who defiantly resisted sleep, waiting for their mother and Blake to return. "Mom, Dad," Zach exclaimed. The word dad now felt right, firmly rooted in their everyday speech. The party was extravagant, filled with laughter and whispers of secrets, but beneath the glamour, a tension simmered, leaving hearts racing and emotions raw. Each time the boys called him Dad, Blake was overwhelmed, a title he believed was lost forever. "Not as thrilling as you'd think," he said, loosening his tie, adults droning on about mundane matters. "Did you feel the rhythm?" Lucas hurriedly cleared space on the sofa for them. Catherine tossed her heels aside, a wave of relief washing over her. "We did it. Your future dad excels at it, in ways you wouldn't expect." The twins stared, awe etched on their faces. "Will you guide us?" Lucas inquired. "What about those elegant parties we attend?" Blake promised, settling beside them, though those years felt distant. Mrs. Winters stepped away, a smile gracing her lips as she took in the vibrant family scene. a stark contrast to her lonely nights. Desperate to uncover this home, Mrs. Peterson praised my ecosystem model as exceptional. I got cast in the school play, Lucas chimed in, eager to match my triumph. Catherine and Blake shared a fleeting, powerful look of pride as parents. These simple victories, homework, school events, fleeting successes, and rare setbacks, woven together, formed the cherished tapestry of their life together. Once the twins were finally tucked in, Blake and Catherine lingered in the doorway of Thomas's room, a poignant shrine where memories of their past and present families intertwined. Blake proposed turning it into a real bedroom for one of the twins, but Catherine fiercely disagreed. "He belongs to our tale as well," she had whispered. "The past remains unforgotten. We rise from it." As the wedding plans unfolded and their lives wove together, Blake felt the undeniable truth of her words. The room shifted from a monument of sorrow to a pathway linking what was and what could be, just like Blake. 3 weeks until the wedding," Catherine whispered, her body pressed against his. Blake hesitated, drawing her in tight, torn about letting the twins handle the rings. Catherine laughed, imagining a dramatic chase scene unfolding in the midst of the ceremony. They vowed to behave, but Mrs. Winters warned that dessert would vanish for a month if they slipped up. With a heavy heart, Blake nodded, extinguishing the light as they stepped into the darkness. "No matter the chaos of the ceremony, all that matters is you becoming my wife, and us finally being a family." Catherine pressed her lips against his, a fleeting moment charged with longing. "We already are, Blake." The wedding seals their fate. The garden burst with the vibrant pulse of spring. Roses clung to trellises, cherry blossoms blanketed the ground, and sunlight flickered over the gathered crowd. 1 year to the day since Blake's proposal, family and close friends came together, not for a wedding, but for a heartfelt renewal of vows. Catherine, glowing in ivory lace, faced Blake under a cascade of blooms. Zach and Lucas stood together, striking in their matching suits, eyes alight with joy as they clutched the velvet cushions holding the rings. A year ago, the officiance started. 4 souls united, forever bound as family. Forever bound as family. Today, they honor their journey and reaffirm their vows. Blake stared at Catherine, awestruck by the sheer wonder of her existence in his world. "Meeting 2 determined boys selling a toy car. I never expected they'd guide me back to life," he said, his voice unwavering. "You and the crew? Wounds I believed would never mend have finally healed. You transformed my house into a home once more." Catherine gripped his hands tightly. "You rescued us in every way a family can be rescued. You loved us freely, with every beat of your heart, not out of duty." The twins offered the rings, their faces itched with gravity. As Blake slid the band onto Catherine's finger, his gaze caught the engraving within. Another shot at redemption. Life had returned to its beginning. A small red toy car sparked a journey, evolving into something breathtaking and timeless. Even the most shattered souls can discover solace in love's unforeseen roots.